Hey guys, homegirl's not doing too hot and I just tried to film a video of me cleaning my room to force myself to, get in a good mood. And it didn't go too well. I kind of just made myself feel worse. So instead, I decided I would talk about something that, actually makes me happy. So today I will be talking about my current movie collection. So I've mentioned it quite a few times on this channel that I really want to go into making movies, or at least I want to study film. And the goal would be, if I ever got lucky enough, would be to be able to make movies and stuff. Specifically, I really want to go into family sci-fi fantasy movies, which is a little specific, but that's just kind of the stuff I love. So these movies I've collected over time. My collection's kind of small currently, but I kind of just started it. Really hoping later on to open up my collection to have more of the classics and really good known critically acclaimed movies in there. But currently I'm starting off with just my favorites and I'm about to drop them, so I'm gonna put them down. So I'm going to divide these up really quick and we will get started. To have this go by a little bit easier, I put it into 4 sections. We have live action movies, Disney, Spider-Man, and my top 3 favorite movies of all time. So I'm gonna start with Disney because it's just 2. I have Big Hero 6, which was, oh my god, I was obsessed with this when it came out. It was originally a comic book, fun fact. It's technically a Marvel movie, which is kind of funny. And if you don't agree with me that it's a Marvel movie, Stan Lee does have a cameo in this. Fuck you. This is by far one of my favorite Disney movies. It is beautifully animated. The whole story is very sweet and it's just so well done. Also the whole kind of blending of the cultures that they have, because it takes place in San Francisco, which is obviously a cross between Tokyo and San Francisco. And it's so cool, the settings, the world they create. That's why I love it so much. It's more around the setting more than the story. And the characters they create, they each have very distinct personalities, which is fantastic. It really, one problem is it does not give the characters a lot of depth, but giving this being a kid's movie, you won't really expect that. But it does really, it helps move the story along, and it's, overall, my favorite thing about this is definitely just the look of it. It's a beautiful looking movie. The story, and also because of the story, is very heartwarming. And it's a lot of it makes me cry. I cried during this. Next Disney movie holds a very special place in my heart. I currently am just holding on to my family's copy of it as more of a display in my room, but when I go off to college and I'm taking my collection with me, I will be buying my own copy. This is WALL-E. WALL-E is my favorite Pixar movie of all time, and I feel bad saying that because Ratatouille is incredible, but this one is just visually stunning, and I feel like the story is very universal and can be applied to today about saving the planet. And it's just a gorgeous movie, and everything about it's just very beautiful, and the story is fantastic, and how they tell really this kind of love story or friendship or love story. It's a love story, let's face it. Wally's in love with Evie, and it tells this beautiful love story without words, just between the robots and everything. And this movie holds a very special place in my heart because this is the first movie that has ever made me cry. I forget which year it is. This was 2008. I was 7 years old, and this was the first movie I ever cried at. WALL-E really holds a very special place in my heart because of that, I think. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. It's so cute, so sweet, and visually stunning. You know what? Let's get Spider-Man over with, because that's the largest part of the collection. So first of all, I have the full Tobey Maguire trilogy of Spider-Man. So Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Yep, here we are. And 3 has lovely emo Spider-Man with Venom. I love that. I don't really have much to say on this. I'm gonna be totally real. I added it to the collection because my family has all 3 and my dad said I could add it, so yeah. Fun fact, actually 2 hasn't even been taken out of the packaging. We bought this in 2004 and never opened it, and it's heavy also, and they're multiple, 2 discs. I haven't watched these in forever. I know I have seen them because I remember I watched the first one. I was really little, and for some reason I was obsessed with it, and I forget why. The reason they're here is because I have a newfound love of Spider-Man, and I felt like I kind of need to have these. Have I watched all 3 of them in a row yet? No, I just know I have seen them when I was very young. Spider-Man movie I have is Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Peter Parker is the love of my life, and I love Tom Holland. He's great, incredible dancer also, holy shit. But his version of Peter Parker is my favorite. I've seen Spider-Man Far From Home, which is currently in theaters, 3 times. 2 of those times I went to see it by myself. Okay, I can't say that it's the best interpretation of Peter Parker because while I have seen both the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield versions, I do not remember them all that well because I was pretty young. But I have read somewhere that this is the best representation of Peter Parker. I love this movie dearly, and I think what sets it apart from the other 2 is the fact that all the kid actors are actually kids, or at least close enough. The whole story of this is so great. It's very much a coming of age kind of thing with Peter Parker really becoming Spider-Man. I totally just lost my train of thought. I love this movie. It's great. Yeah. Next, I have to say this is probably my favorite animated movie of all time. Once again in the Spider-Man collection, so to speak. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is sadly the lowest grossing Spider-Man movie ever made because it is an animated movie, and a lot of people won't go to see it because they think it's more of a kid's movie. This movie is so incredibly done, a beautiful movie. My dad doesn't actually really like these types of movies, and I showed him it and he absolutely loved it. Like, he told like my uncle about how good it was, and I felt so great about that because I was like, yes, I showed you that movie. Yeah, I absolutely love this. This is actually what kickstarted me getting into Spider-Man stuff. Like, after I saw this movie, I immediately ordered the Spider-Gwen comics, which I currently have 4 sitting over on my bookshelf, and I ordered 2 more on Amazon just the other day. Brief synopsis, the main character, Miles Morales, there is a machine that is trying to rip open this time-space continuum to open other realities, and this brings in all the other Spider people, so Gwen, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Noir, Penny Parker, and Peter Porker, or Spider-Ham. Absolutely stunning movie to look at. Like, the animation is so beautifully done, and so much thought is put into it. I watched an interview about this recently about how they use different frames per second for characters because it showed them kind of growing into these molds of Spider-Man, and I think that's so freaking cool. This movie, there's so much thought into it. Each character has their own unique style, and they're all very layered, and it's just more than a kids movie or a family movie. There's so much more to it, and I love Into the Spider-Verse so much. It's so well done, and it really brings out all the stories so freaking well. Next, we're going to move on to the live action section of my collection. So starting off with Baby Driver. Oh wait, where's the disc? The disc is in my DVD player. Cool. It does have Kevin Spacey in it. We're not going to talk about it. Baby Driver, or just Baby, is a getaway driver for a crime group, I guess. They rob banks and they rob banks, getting money, stuff like that. A lot of heists. So it's definitely like an action movie. It's got a lot of stuff going on. There's always something happening. It's also beautifully put together. Like, it's just beautiful to watch, and the music in it, okay, the whole soundtrack is fantastic. I definitely, even if you haven't seen the movie, I definitely suggest listening to the soundtrack. It's so good. Edgar Wright directed this. He was also the director of Shaun of the Dead and what was the other big one? Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And actually, compared to these, this is a little bit different, but it's so good. I love his work so much. Edgar Wright is incredible, and Baby Driver is such a good movie. I love it. It's in live action. I have It. So It was the first horror movie I ever actually liked, which is why it is added to the added to the collection. It's great because I have never read the original book of it, but I know the deal with that is that in the original book, it swaps chapters. So it'll be a chapter about the kid's story and then the adult story, kid story, adult story, so it swaps back, so really you learn more as you read the whole book. However, what they're doing with the movie, obviously, is they're just telling the kid's story first, and I love that, and I think that's really why it dragged me in. It sounds so aggressive. So the final movie in my live action section of my collection is La La Land. La La Land, it's so difficult to say. La La Land gained a lot of attention, I believe, what year was it? I'd like to say 2016. Am I right? It's not saying it. 2016, yes, okay. Yeah, so in 2016 it became very popular. It's a beautiful movie, incredible use of color, that's why I love it so much, and its storytelling is very, it's very like it's very nostalgic for old Hollywood, which is so great, and I love it. So yeah, add it to the collection. I don't think I have ever had as many battery problems in a video as this one, so that's fine. I'm now sitting on my chair backwards. Bad idea. That was a bad idea. So the final movie section I have, now that we've finished everything, I'm gonna try to get through this one quickly in case we have any battery catastrophes. I'm just gonna present them all at once. My favorite 3 movies of all time is the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Actually, hold on. I need to get something if we're gonna do this. Alright, let's get started. So the How to Train Your Dragon movies are my favorite thing in the entire world. Specifically, I fell in love with the first one a long time ago because it's a really cool fantasy story, which brings in the whole fact of why I want to do fantasy, like a sci-fi fantasy family movies. It is because of these movies. The story it has is incredible, and the way it ages with the audience. There is a video on YouTube which I believe is called Aging with Your Audience, and I think if I'm not wrong, I think that's what it's called, but the example they use is the How to Train Your Dragon series. And I am a prime example of the kid that was in that audience that grew up with it, which is why these movies hold such a special place in my heart. I was 8? Was I 8 years old, or was I? Yeah, no. I was 9 years old when this first movie came out, and I am now 17 when this movie came out. So these really followed me for a full 8 years and have brought many a tear. Oh boy. So well done, like visually beautiful. Like, and I thought the first one was so freaking cool with the design of the dragons, and like the evolution of animation is another reason why I love these movies, like as a trilogy and as a whole in a sense, is to see the evolution of how far DreamWorks has come from this movie. Like, this movie was very good for its time, and it still is a very beautiful movie, but if you compare it to the animation of this, oh my god. The biggest thing that stuck out to me in this movie is like the smallest things, like the water animation is beautiful and so much different than it was before, but the biggest thing that stuck out to me throughout the whole movie in comparison to the other two is the hair. I don't know why that sticks out to me so much, but it looks real. Like, the opening scene in this movie, as soon as like you don't see the characters yet, we're just seeing the setting, it looks real. And I love it so much. I do have one minor problem with this movie, but I will make another video about that because it fills me with rage. But this is still an incredible movie. I love it so much. Also, the problem isn't that serious. It's just my weird brain. Ugh. It holds a very special place in my heart because I grew up on it. And and I think the fact that I grew up on it is really why it hit so hard in the end. Spoilers. Now, don't watch for the next minute and a half if you don't want spoilers. End of the movie, you see Hiccup all grown up and he has kids and everything, and the dragons are separate now, and like you see Toothless at the end with the Light Fury, and like they have kids. The kids is the thing that makes me really mad. They're genetically impossible. Anyway, and that for some reason, like, of course the dragon's leaving, that made me cry. But it was seeing them all grown up made me bawl and sob. That's the thing that got me going. You know what, Toothless is gonna stay here while we do the outro. I hope y'all enjoyed this video of me rambling for God knows how many minutes about my favorite movies. This definitely helped me feel better. Holy shit, I felt terrible at the beginning of this. I hope y'all like my okay. I can't freaking speak. I hope y'all like my movie collection. I hope y'all, if you haven't seen some of the movies that are in here, I highly recommend seeing any of them. They're all fantastic movies, and I love all of them very much, or else they would not be in the collection. I hope y'all liked the video. If you like it, you can give it a like, and if you want to see more of my videos, you can click that subscribe box down below. I also have all of my social media down. No, I can't talk today. What is it? Okay. I also have all of my social media links down below there. If you want to go stalk me, you can go do that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!